This is Cresso, and this is part 74 of the Human Journal. Meditation is the key to all dimensions. In this journal, I'm going to continue right where I left off on part 73, and I'm going to touch on a little bit on part 65 on life is imagination, and definitely want to just talk about my experience of meditation for what I am, different levels for what I know about it. Okay, to touch on 65, part 65, life is imagination. I was talking about the big three, which is imagination, synchronicity, and manifestation. Those three things are very important, and pretty much that's the way our lives are shaped. It doesn't matter what dimension you're in. I could say that's just the makeup of consciousness. That's just how the flow of life, or you call it the nature of life, works. Now I'm going to talk about meditation. Now, meditation goes hand in hand with imagination. Okay, a lot of people that's familiar with the basics of meditation is to keep yourself in a good state, keep yourself calm, be in a quiet place. Now meditation, okay, is also, you could definitely travel through different dimensions from within, internally. So it doesn't always have to be, this different level. It is, the whole concept is being being a calm state. That's the basic, and that is one of the big parts of it. Now, to go on part 73, what I was talking about, when I was meditating deep, I was doing my best to connect, to have a frequency contact. This is how I call it. I wanted to communicate with other multidimensional beings, or there's, obviously they're me, or they're us. This all came from source, but the experience. I wanted the experience to communicate with other multidimensional beings, and I had in my heart to do it. And what I did is that I just gone deep, as basically as far as possible. I applied the big three. I used my imagination, synchronicity, and manifestation. I want to say manifestation doesn't always have to be on a physical realm. Manifestation can also happen, obviously, in a spiritual realm. Okay, so I just want to keep anybody's listening to this audio just to keep that in mind. So I applied the big three while I was meditating, and it was very important that I didn't have any doubt. I had to really forget about just the logical way of thinking. It's very important, because putting too much into logic into things is going to definitely hold you back. It's going to definitely, if you have any doubts also, that's why sometimes logical mind gets in the way. When you start to have doubts, you monkey wrench your experience. So I just kept myself loose, and I just breathed. I meditated deeply, and I used my imagination, and also I want to add to the third eye. Okay, the third eye is very important to all of this. Okay, and that's what happened. I was patient, and my experience began, and it was pretty deep. I really wanted to really express this to everybody, emphasize this in this part about how to meditate, more deeply, as deep as you can. There's really, when it comes to meditation, okay, there's really no limits, and that's extremely important. Imagination. I mean, you could imagine limits, but why would you do that? So the thing is that, using imagination and meditation goes hand in hand. It's very important. And that's all it takes. But it's so important that it's very important to really to hit the off switch of your head telling you that you don't make no sense. What's wrong with you? Do you realize that people might think you're strange? I'm saying this through my own experience, and I know how the human mind works. It's very important to hit the off switch. Okay? If you want to travel from different dimensions, you want to have that experience, and even communicate with other multidimensional beings in a more internally, for example, it's possible. It can be done. I was expressing in part 73 about my experience. Now, I was having this, interest in meditation, and I couldn't go any deeper because I was, that night I was driving. When I obviously keep myself focused, but it just took patience, and synchronicity and manifestation. It was a perfect connection. So the frequencies was like, these beings, they do talk to me, but it do comes out to be like sounds. Like I was telling you in part 73, the way they was talking to me is like, frequency. Everybody, what frequency is, and it translated into I understand within what they were saying to me. Like I said in part 73, they was communicating to me through imagery thoughts, way of communicating with pictures in the mind, which I'm familiar with this type of communication. It kind of brought back into how one of the ways that I communicated from a different time space before, before my human experience. So, a lot of these things I was familiar with, and I felt that when I was meditating deeply, I felt like I rediscovered, more and more within consciousness, and that there's really no limit, and I felt at peace with myself. And I just kept going in. So I just want to say this to anybody: if you want to have a really deep, like a different level altogether of meditation, you definitely could get lost. If you feel like you need a break from this 3D world, right, from this experience, and you feel like you just need to relax, and you just don't know what to do, and your mind just doesn't know when to shut up, go with the basics. Be at a calm space. If it's some frequency type of music that maybe you can find on YouTube, if that can assist you, great. If you can find some other type of music that would help you as far as to start off, great. That's a good idea. Start off being calm, put yourself in a good state, spiritually, keep yourself calm. And then from there, once you're at that spot, then you keep going. This is when you use your imagination. You keep going and going and going. This is when you keep running that component, the imagination. It's the bedrock. Like I was saying in part 65, it's like the bedrock of the big three. So once you keep doing that, and now it requires patience now. Once you keep doing that, that's when you synchronize. The synchronicity is the go-between. It transports that experience to you. Then you will manifest whatever that's in your heart, whatever that's something that you prefer, and it just boom, it just manifests. It doesn't have to be physical. It could be spiritually. So that's the thing, And I felt, and the third eye is very important to all this. Like I was saying early, the third eye is definitely, you see further. It's just like it's the same. Let me just put it this way: imagination, meditation, and the third eye. Those three parts right there, but they're all like one package. along with the synchronicity and manifestation. But I wanted to talk about the third eye and the meditation and imagination. It's all in the same package. So you utilize them all at the same time, all at once. And that's really it. There's really nothing to it. It's very simple, to do this, to go deep, to have the experience to travel. If you want to travel in the cosmos and the spiritual, and in a spiritual realm, yes, you can. Anybody can do that. And the only thing that's going to be difficult, that is going to seem difficult, is managing your mind. It's basically making sure your logical mind doesn't become a barrier into your experience. That's it. This takes work. This takes patience. You're gonna have to trust your higher selves, everybody. And when I say your higher self, I know a lot of people probably wondering what does he talk about, my higher self? Your higher self, however you want to call it. If you want to call it God, fine. A lot of people like to resemble. A good number of people like to use the word God. If you want to use God, fine. Some people don't believe in God. If you want to say your higher self or a higher frequency level, or however you want to call it, okay, it's you, but in a more higher consciousness state. Okay, it's just you. That's really it. And for those that like to use the word God so much, that's fine, But I just want to throw this out there that, you talk about God, God is not separate from you. Infinite can't separate itself. Okay? So, I just want to throw that out there. I always like to use this opportunity to throw that out there, because a lot of people, I see the vibe in a lot of people, and people think that God is going to punish them and throw them into hell and do all kinds of stuff. It's like, and I just throw this out people like this, and I think it throws people into a spin a little bit when I say things like this. That yeah, if you're gonna to put yourself into an idea of a hell, you're gonna do that to yourself. But as far as destroying yourself, you can never destroy yourself. That's just the truth. I have people send me direct private messages on YouTube. I have one individual sent me a long private message, and he's a Christian, and he talks about God and all the scriptures and all that. Not to go too far off the topic, but I had to just throw it out like this. I thanked him for the message, and just throw it about how how we are consciousness and how we can never separate ourselves. That, just to put it short and sweet, it throws people off. We're so conditioned to believe that infinite or God or consciousness is separate from us, and we're just just a mere human being. That's all you are. That's just a game that you play. So I do use this opportunity. I have no shame to say. I say as many times as possible. So obviously, there's no time really, but I can say as much as I want, because I'm in love with the truth, and I'll keep saying it over and over, So if you want to really have the experience to travel within the cosmos, especially I'm talking about more on the spiritual part. Yes, meditation is definitely key, but it's not hard. It's not. I know a lot of people look up to the Buddha, and I have a lot of I have respect for that religion on the part of meditation, how you go about your way spiritually. But that's as far as it goes for me on that. You don't have to join a religious group, anybody, to understand and to go as far as you can. I mean, there's no limits, but you don't have to be part of a religion group to able to do this, to understand this. Anybody can do this. Anybody. Let me add this too. I wanted to say this. When you meditate, okay, relax yourself and you meditate and you just use your imagination, synchronicity, manifestation. I want you all to, I want to suggest this to everybody. Picture yourself in outer space, let's just say. And when you're in outer space, okay, do you realize that there's no bottom and there's no top? There's no left or right. You know? Now, by you picturing what I just said, how do you feel that there's no bottom and there's no top? There's no left, there's no right in outer space. Huh? How do you feel about that? To me, it feels like complete infinity. I love it. And that's what consciousness is. There's no floor. You know, I know our logical mind, we think there's a bottom and there's a top to something. There is no bottom and there is no top. I mean, we could have the experience as a wall, the bottom and top, you know, left, right, the end point. That is possible also from an experience, but the truth of the matter is that that's an illusion. Like time is an illusion. Time, we allow time because it's an experience. We allow the idea of process is because of the experience. There's really no time. When people have an out-of-body experience, or people have a life after life experience, okay, the awareness of time is gone. Where's time? You understand? So when you're out of space, when you picture yourself in outer space when you're meditating, there's no top and there's no bottom, there's no left and right. So I just want everybody to take that in when you meditate. And, you know, keep pushing yourself more and more. You know, when you meditate, keep going. You know, and that's it. There's no limits. You understand, everybody? There's no limits. Now, I wanted to say this on part 73 about these beings that I was communicating. You know, they was talking about, someone was telling me that for them to interact, their experience interacting with some humans is easier in the Amazon because the people there in these different environments, they're a lot more open, far as they just seem to be spiritually in tune to different possibilities. Even though these beings, they're able to communicate with me on a spiritual aspect, or let's just say by frequencies, okay? These beings are obviously a physical base. Some beings are not physical based. Some of them are spiritual based, and some of them are dual, straight up dual, spirit and physical, like me. My life in a different time space that I live physical, like very similar to human, and then I have a out of body experience like naturally, like my out of body experience as Crystal from a different dimension is like me going to the store. That's how natural and more controlled the out-of-body experience is. So I consider that a dual life experience, okay? Anyway, so to go back, some of these beings are able, it's easier to interact with humans in the Amazon or than versus the big city. Now, for what I got, the vibe that I got, and for what they was expressing through frequencies and translated into that I could understand in my own mind, like words, some people in the Amazon, some look at these ETs as a god. Not all, but some of them still look at them as a god. And people in the big cities do that too. They're looking for the either people looking for the Palladians to come and save the day, or any other type of figure that people feel that to worship and all that. But that's an experience that people select. The thing is that the reason, again, I just want to go further a little, just to emphasize a little bit why people, for what I got from these dimensional beings, that people are able to easily to interact with. Now, the humans in the Amazon, they're able to channel in, or their third eye they use their third eye more frequently. Okay. And that's a thing too. The environment plays a role. The influence or what is going on around people in different environments plays a role. But spiritually, these people are definitely in tune more. As far as not the everyday life. They're more in tune of not the everyday life. So that's why they're easy to interact. Now, as far as the third eye, I was talking to my friend about this yesterday, actually, about the third eye. That the third eye, or let's say, to use your third eye more, okay, is that people, your diet also could play a big role in basically helping your third eye in a way, just to make this for some improvements, or to have more clarity. So your diet does play a role. Eating food maybe that doesn't create too much phlegm in your body. People from different environments, parts of the world, eat food that's completely different from the Western culture. So when you eat food that doesn't create too much phlegm, that's great. Okay? Just want to throw that out there. Okay? Because when you have less phlegm in the pineal gland, okay, I feel that it will definitely broaden, will help your experience. Now, I just want to add this too about the pineal gland. See, me and my friend was talking about how the pineal gland is not really the third eye. We got to go in deeper about that. I said to her, I had to ask her, what do you mean? See, what she meant is that the pineal gland is the representation of the third eye, the physical representation of the third eye. I said, yes, I'm on the same page. The third eye is actually spiritually. It's not anything physical, the third eye. And that's something that I think in my past clip, I was thinking back, say, shucks, I hope I didn't really I kind of felt like, I said to myself, I think I probably meant people might take what I was saying about the pineal gland in my previous clip, that I meant that the third eye is the pineal gland. But no, I mean, I have to let that go. If I made an error, that's fine. The third eye is the spirit. The pineal gland is like it's like the physical component, but it's not the actual third eye. So we were just talking about that yesterday. It's kind of like the same thing like when you have an out-of-body experience. Okay, you look at your physical self. That's not really you, really. It's a physical representation of you, right? But when you have your out-of-body experience, your spirit, your infinite being, okay, that's you. That's the actual true self, the true you. Do you understand? So I just want to, add that here on that. Also, I want to mention something really interesting, that something felt that I was starting to put together something within about just consciousness. I wanted to say this quickly before I close up. You know, you look at space, you look at all the stars and all that, right? And a lot of people have so many different ideas, like, what is that? What is out there? What's beyond the cosmos? This is what a lot of us say this. You know, I felt like I wanted to share this, just to add this to this journal. So, you ever stare at a TV, a channel that's snowing, like make that sound shh, and you keep staring at it, right? I was telling this to my friend yesterday about that. I said, you know, staring at a snow channel, a channel that's snowy, that's the best way I can describe it, okay? I feel that it's staring at that, it's like you don't know what it is, but I felt that I said it like this. If you're able to focus on the snowy images on the TV, it's basically a blurry image of something that's an object or something within consciousness. That for what you could interpret it from you looking at things from your own eye and interpret it from your brain, all you're looking at is a snowy, fuzzy image. But I was telling her yesterday that that people are able to fine tune their visual, let's just say physical visual, or even let's say utilize your third eye, matter of fact, excuse me. You were able to see things clearer, like what that snowy image is. So to go back, what I was saying about the space, when you stare at the space, I feel like staring at the sky, see all these beautiful stars and all that, I feel it's the same thing when you're staring at the fuzzy imagery on TV. When you have your out-of-body experience, okay, anybody that experienced this, okay, or you have ayahuasca, or DMT, any type of DMT experience, you see things more than that you regularly don't see on your awakened state. But you do see things again, by utilizing your third eye. So what I'm trying to say is that when you stare at space, let's say, and you utilize your third eye, you were able to see things, right, and a much more clearer. Like, like all the stars and planets and everything that's there, it's all pulled together. Like, wow, it's like, let me just give this is a better example. Anybody that's been to a science class, right? And you got this microscope, excuse me. You got this microscope, and you got like a little tiny particle. You look at this tiny particle, it's like, oh wow, that's like, it could be a rock. It could be whatever it is, but let's just say a rock. And you zoom into it, and you say to yourself, oh, it's not. I can't believe that's the actual rock. But you zoom into that. With the microscope, you actually see the actual true image of that rock for what it really looks like when you zoom in. So if you stare at space, right, and let's just say you utilize your third eye, you zoomed into space, and things become much more clearer. So I just want everybody to take it in what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident what I'm saying. Everybody's listening to this audio, you could fully understand what I'm saying. So I had to really think about it through the night, and I wanted to share this because it's something, something came to me within about that, and I'm gonna really go in, or I want to experiment on that, because I do know that consciousness is formless, and consciousness is multidimensional, it's interdimensional, it's out-of-dimensional, however you want to call it. I was telling her, my friend last night, that consciousness is flesh also. Okay, it's consciousness is spirit overall. It's formless. I'm going to focus a little bit on the physical realm right now. A little bit more. Consciousness is flesh, also robotic. I'm just telling you for what it is. And also, I am open that what you see in the cosmos is also, it's part of a holographic, or a lot of people play with this idea, okay, that's like, that this entire universe is part of a motherboard. I'm open to that too. I am. Because you know why? Because I look at fractals. I go back into fractals. Fractal is just endless amount of layers. That's all it is. So when you get that microscope in a science class and you zoom into that rock, right? Earth, this planet, however you want to describe this planet or whatever this thing is, okay? This is basically a fragment. That's what Earth is. It's a fragment. Okay, the human race, everything is a fragment. But here's the thing, I wanted to mention this, okay? Because again, not to put down a lot of people, but a lot of people tend to have a tendency of, not all, but some people have a tendency of looking at themselves small, and that there's a separate God, that's some mighty superior God above you. You see, consciousness is like phenomenal, like the word, the word big is not enough, but massive, that's not enough either. Gigantic, that's still not enough. Consciousness is like everything. And consciousness is the tiniest fragment. So you got consciousness that's gigantic, and you got consciousness as a tiny fragment that you pretty much can't see with the naked eye. It's a network. You understand? It's a network. So just because something that's so big and superior, right, that our religion paradigm teaches us, anything that's supposed to be bigger is connected to everything that's small, that's very, very tiny. You understand? So I just describe Earth as a fragment, a tiny fragment. You're going to call it a sand, a pebble, or a little tiny grain or part of a sand. Just follow me what I'm saying. So that's why I look at Earth. Again, if there's no separation of consciousness, it's all in the same network. So I just want to, it's slightly off topic about meditation, but I just wanted to add something here about this, because it's amazing when you decide to be so open and get out of the 5 sensory way of thinking. Like, there's all possibilities. I'm saying to myself, sometimes I feel like I can't imagine that about people not accepting that. But I do know that people sometimes, there's a part of ourselves, decide not to be ready. We decide to play the game of separation and play the game that we're not worthy of the phenomenal thing about life. We decided not to be ready at the moment, because we're going through a spiritual path to rediscover who you are. So and that, you know what? There's really no loss. People could decide to be asleep, but consciousness within us, it's all about awakening also. And that's the experience I want to say about this dimension. Everything is about awakening in this dimension. And, it can't be stopped. It's not meant to stop. It's the nature of life. It's this like, no matter how badly we come up with these pitiful stories about how we feel about ourselves, and how we create so many Armageddon stories that Earth is going to be smashed into billions of pieces, and all that stuff. I kept expressing about consciousness is about expansion. So if you want to hide behind your religion beliefs, if you want to hide behind these propaganda, fear-based ideas, you know, this is some spiritual path that you're choosing for the time being. Hey, you know, okay. But I just need to speak the truth because I love truth. I love truth. Truth is freedom. Truth is love. You know, I'll call it out as it is. I'm not gonna hold any punches. If you don't like truth, okay, everybody, you don't love yourself. But that's the experience that you're choosing. You don't love yourself if you don't give a damn about the truth. You don't give a damn about freedom either. So I just wanted to express that. I mean, I'm not gonna hold any punches. It's for what it is. So anyway, I think I cover a lot. I'm sorry I had to add this part into this journal. I know I talk about meditation. Take everything what I say about meditation. If you want to get lost, you really want to just get a break from this crazy everyday matrix life that you plant yourself in, you are empowered to do that at any time, and it's easy. Anybody can do it. You don't got to be a guru in the mountains to do this, or to be the chosen one, or you don't have to be, or your bloodline doesn't have to be in this some sort of lineage family, you know. Oh yeah, I'm like the chosen one. I'm the, you know, my blood run through this family tree and all that bull crap, all that egoic story. No, you don't have to be any part of that stuff. Anybody could do this. Anybody, because we all consciousness. That's plain and simple. So if you want to listen to this audio, obviously as much as possible, be my guest. It's a pleasure of me doing this. I'm so glad I take the opportunity to share this to all the open-minded people, and that's just what I'm about. You know, I really enjoy doing this. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you very much. And please leave a small donation, just whatever amount. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to part 75. Okay, take care.